Duck for president. Running a farm is very hard work. At the end of each day, Farmer Brown is covered from head to toe in hay, horsehair, seeds, sprouts, feathers, filth, mud, muck, and coffee stains. He doesn't smell very good either. The animals have chores to do too. Pigs clean under the beds. Cows weed the garden. Sheep sweep the barn. Duck take out the trash. Mow the lawn. Grind coffee beans. At the end of each day, the pigs are covered in lint bunnies. The cows are covered in weeds. The sheep are covered in dust. And duck is covered in tiny bits of grass and espresso beans. Duck did not like to do chores. He did not like picking tiny bits of grass and espresso beans out of his feathers. Why is Farmer Brown in charge anyway? Thought Duck. What we need is an election. He made a sign, hung it up in the barn. Farmer Brown must go. Farm election tomorrow. The next morning, Farmer Brown found a poster on his front door. Vote Duck for a kinder, gentler farm? Farmer Brown was furious. He ran to the barn, found the animals registering to vote. Voter registration. Voters must, 1, live on the farm. 2, show valid ID. 3, be at least this tall. The mice got together and protested the height requirement. So Duck crossed it off. On election day, each of the animals filled out a ballot and placed it in a box. The vote was counted and the results were posted on the barn wall. Farmer Brown, 6. Duck, Farmer Brown demanded a recount. One sticky ballot was found stuck to the bottom of a pit. The new tally was Farmer Brown 6, Duck 21. The voters had spoken. Duck was officially in charge. Running a farm is very hard work. At the end of each day, Duck was covered from head to toe in hay, horsehair, seeds, sprouts, feathers, filth, mud, muck, and coffee stain. Running a farm is no fun at all, thought Duck. That night, Duck and his staff started working on Duck's campaign for governor. Vote for me. I'm a Duck, not a politician. Duck left Farmer Brown in charge and hit the campaign trail. He visited small town diners. He marched in parades. He went to town meetings. He gave speeches that only other Ducks could understand. On election day, the voters filled out their ballots in booths all over the state. The vote was counted. The results were posted in the local paper. Duck wins by a no. Ms. Governor, 299,999. Duck, 300,000. The governor demanded a recount. Two sticky ballots were found stuck to the bottom of a plate of pancakes. The new tally was Ms. Governor, 299,999. Duck, 300,002. The voters had spoken. Duck was officially in charge. Running a state is very hard work. At the end of each day, Duck was covered from head to toe in hairspray, ink stain, Scotch tape, fingerprints, mayonnaise, and coffee stains. And he had a very bad head. Running a state is no fun at all, thought Duck. That night, Duck and his staff started working on posters for the presidential election. A duck for a change. I like Duck. Duck, making us proud again. The Duck stops here. Duck left his staff in charge and hit the campaign trail. He rode in parades. He kissed babies in local diners. He gave speeches that only other Ducks could understand. He even played the saxophone on late night television. On election day, the voters filled out their ballots in booths all over the country. The vote was counted. The results were announced on CNN.
Decision America. Mr. President, 50,546,165. Duck, 50,546,170. Duck defeats president.
The president demanded a recount. 10 sticky ballots were found stuck to the bottom of the vice president. The new tally was
Mr. President, 50,546,165. Duck, 50,546,180. Duck still defeats president.
the voters had spoken. Duck was officially in charge. Running a country is very hard work. At the end of each day, Duck was covered from head to toe in face powder, paper cuts, security badges, staples, Secret Service agents, and coffee stains. And he had a very bad day. Running a country is no fun at all, thought Duck. Then he checked the help wanted ads. Duck needs no experience necessary. Must be able to mow lawn and grind coffee beans. Duck left the vice president in charge and headed back to the farm. At the end of each day, Farmer Brown is now covered from head to toe in hay, horsehair, seeds, sprouts, feathers, filth, mud, muck, and coffee stains. And Duck is working on his autobiography. I was born on a farm because I wanted to be near my mother. But seriously,
Election Day by Lynn Peppus, published by Crabtree Publishing Company. The table of contents. What is Election Day? Election Day is a day when people choose their leaders. Election comes from the word elect. It means to help make a choice or decision. Every adult gets one vote on Election Day. Elections in the Ukraine fall on different dates. Different countries around the world have different election days. Some countries have one election day that is always on the same date. In other countries, election days fall on different dates. What is democracy? Most countries hold elections. They rule by democracy. Democracy means that the people from a country help to decide who will make laws. The group of people elected is called a government. Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper is the leader of a democratic government. Thousands of years ago, ancient Greeks were the first people to rule by democracy. A few countries do not hold elections. A monarch or dictator rules them. People in these countries do not have a choice about who will rule. King Mswati III is the ruling monarch of Swaziland. Did you know democracy comes from a Greek word that means power to the people? Every vote counts. A citizen is someone who belongs to a country. Citizens follow laws and pay taxes to their country. The country's government makes sure every citizen has the same rights. Women voted for the United States president for the first time in 1920. Less than 100 years ago, women had to fight for their right to vote. Citizens in a democracy have the right to vote in an election. This vote helps decide who should be the leader. It is important to vote. Voters help decide how a community will be ruled. Elections give people the freedom to choose their leaders. Did you know women in the United States were not allowed to vote because of their gender until 1920? Early and absentee voting. Sometimes people are not able to vote on Election Day. They may not be able to vote because of work, vacations, or religious or medical reasons. Many countries have early voting. This means that citizens can vote before an election day. Citizens are given the chance to vote early if they are not able to vote on Election Day. Soldiers fighting in faraway places still get to vote for their country's leaders. Absentee voting lets citizens vote when they cannot come to a polling station. Absentee means a person who is away. Some work in other countries, such as people in the military. Did you know early and absentee voting can be done by mail? Early polling stations are set up for early voters, too. This year, 2020, a lot of folks are choosing to vote early or use absentee ballots to practice proper social distancing during the pandemic. Electing leaders. A leader is a person who makes decisions for a group of people or community. Most times, leaders are elected to their jobs. The top leader in the United States is called a president. In other countries, a top leader is called a prime minister or chancellor. Different leaders have different ideas about how to rule a country. People vote for the person that they think will do the best job. President Barack Obama was elected as the leader of the United States. Now, President Donald Trump is the leader of the United States. In Germany, the top leader is called Chancellor. This is Chancellor Angela Merkel. Did you know a person who is trying to win an election and become a leader is called a candidate? Former Vice President Joe Biden is currently a candidate for the presidential election. History of Election Day. In the 1800s, most people living in America were farmers. They grew crops for food and money. In the fall, they harvested their crops. If an election was in fall, many were too busy to vote. Farmers that did not have time to vote had to travel long distances by horse-drawn vehicle to reach a polling station. Some citizens had to travel all day in order to vote. For these reasons, lawmakers decided to hold Election Day in November. In November, harvests were finished and stormy winter weather had not yet started. Over 100 years ago, most families in America earned their living by farming. Did you know lawmakers decided to hold Election Day on a Tuesday so it would not interfere with Sunday, a religious day for many, or Market Day, which was often on Wednesdays? Election Day in the U.S. The United States has a fixed election day. This means it falls on the same day every election year. To find the U.S. election day, look at the month of November on a calendar. Find the first Monday. Go to the Tuesday that follows it. That is election day. Election day in the U.S. always falls on the Tuesday that follows the first Monday in November. Presidential election days are held on even-numbered years. Even-numbered years end in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. Elections for other leaders are sometimes held on election day too. They take place in a year with no presidential election. Candidates in an election organize campaigns to try to get people to vote for them. Did you know many Americans speak Spanish? In Spanish, election day is called elecciones, and I apologize because I'm pretty sure I didn't pronounce that correctly. Public holiday. Election day is a public holiday in some countries. This means people get the day off for work to vote. Countries such as Israel and the Philippines have declared election day a public holiday. In Israel, people are given the day off work so they can vote on election day. Some believe that more people will vote on election day if it is a public holiday. In the United States, election day is a public holiday in some states, such as New York. Other states, such as California, have a law that lets people leave work early to vote. Some states make laws for people to leave work early so they can vote. Did you know some United States leaders are trying to make a law that makes election day a public holiday in every state? Polling stations. Most people vote at polling stations on election day. Polling stations are needed for just one day. Some polling station signs are written in different languages so people who cannot speak English can still find them. They are set up in public places such as schools, offices, sports arenas, and church halls. Large cities have many polling stations. Voters are told where they should vote before an election. People often vote at polling stations near their homes. Polling stations have voting booths so others cannot see who a person is voting for. Did you know in the United States a polling station is often called a polling place? Poll workers. Poll workers are people who set up the polling stations, greet and help voters, and make sure everything is done correctly. Poll workers help people at polling stations. Poll watchers are people who watch to see that voting is done fairly. Returning officers help others vote. United States poll workers must be trained. They go to special classes or read special books on how to do this job. Many poll workers are volunteers. However, some are paid for their jobs. Poll workers often wear stickers or special clothing so that people know who they are. Did you know high school and college students can be poll workers too? They ask their teachers for permission to help on election day. How to vote. A poll worker gives a voter one ballot. A ballot is a piece of paper with names of possible leaders or candidates. Besides each candidate's name, there is a place such as an empty circle or box to mark a choice. A voter marks one choice on the ballot. After a person votes, he or she puts their ballot in the ballot box. Some places use electronic voting systems. These systems have ballot displayed on a screen. The voter touches the screen or uses buttons to select the candidate they wish to vote for. Poll workers help voters who do not know how to use the electronic voting system. Did you know ballot boxes are sealed by a poll worker? The box is then taken to a place where the votes are counted. Police officers usually do this job. And the winner is, votes can be counted by people or machines. People count votes and others watch them to see that it is done fairly. Sometimes two people will count each ballot to make sure they are correct. Every vote is counted in an election. When a machine is used, an officer sends the collected votes to a counting place. The leader with the majority of votes wins. A majority means the most votes. In some places, ballots are put in a machine which counts the votes. Did you know sometimes people are use voting machines to vote? These ballots are read by machines too. Other election days. All democratic countries have election days. Some countries, such as Britain, do not have fixed election days. Their election day depends on when their leaders set it. Canada's leader can set election day. However, it must be set at least by the third Monday in October every 4 years. Canadians do not vote for the Prime Minister. Each citizen votes for someone in their own community who belongs to a party. The leader of the party with the most people elected becomes the Prime Minister. In some countries, such as Australia, all citizens 18 years or older must vote. They pay a fine if they do not. Election days are held on Saturdays when most people are not working. All citizens of Australia who are 18 or older must vote on election day. Did you know election days in India are the largest in the world? Over 670 million citizens have the right to vote on this day. And there's our election day quiz. Alright, my friends, you have learned a lot about elections and voting, and did you know that our next election is coming up on November 3rd? I have a way that you can support the election and support voting, even though you're not old enough to vote yet, because when you turn 18, you'll be old enough to vote. So, this is your activity that you may do. Get a piece of paper and some colored pencils or crayons or whatever, and draw a picture that encourages the grown-ups in your life to go and vote, okay? And then you may share it with them, and if you would like, you can have somebody take a picture of it and send it to me at my email address and share it with me too. And if you do that, I will share it on our webpage, okay? Alright, my friends, get out there. We need you to get the grown-ups in your life to get out and vote. Have a great day.